Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Lisa here with Chris. We are from Wisdom from the Edge podcast, and we're so happy that you joined us today. Hi, Chris.
Hey Lisa, it's a beautiful winter day here while we're recording it, though I'm sure maybe you're listening to this in the summer, but we are in a cozy winter wonderland today.
And we are in a frozen tundra.
Yeah. Yep.
Sunny, but frozen tundra.
Yes, exactly.
So great to see you. And, viewer and listener, we're so excited for today. We're going to be talking about something. So here, we're talking about, Chris and I have been talking about this for a while. Like, there are a lot of programs that have been developed over the course of many years that I have developed. I've actually developed 65 courses. I've developed 3 programs. And there's one particular program that Chris is very familiar with. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. But a lot of comments we've had of people just saying, well, can you give us some more information? Can you, we're looking for tools, we're looking for practices. What are easy steps that we can take in order to get to the next level of what I would call just, personal ascension, right? There's just another level of evolution of who we want to become, and how do we want to become that, and the steps to get us there. And Chris and I talked a lot about this. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm going to just, I wanted, and this is something that I haven't done since 2018. I developed a program called the Recalibration program in 2018. It's a hand-picked program, and I'll go through the details of it. But I think that a lot of viewers and listeners that have been on for a while, we're at that place where it's like, well, let's take everybody to the next level, right? I mean, we're in 2024, and the way in which to skyrocket, to truly accelerate or to deepen your understanding of self, even to deepen a relationship or relationships that you have. What do we always say in this podcast is it starts with self. And the recalibration program is a phenomenal program to actually make that happen. And I would say you do the work, I guarantee it. So I don't know, Chris. I think we should like run with that one. What do you
Yeah, I
think?
mean, it's because that's where, honestly, like, I think that's how we really first connected, Lisa, is I knew for myself, I had just moved from my hometown of 33 years of my life and had uprooted everything. And I was going through a major transition. And I know everyone listening and watching can relate to this. We all go through major transitions in our lives. And I feel that as a collective consciousness, we're obviously going through a massive shift and transformation globally, as we can all see quite obviously.
Yeah.
And that's, I remember meeting you on a group Zoom call when I was
Yeah.
feeling quite lost, I'll be honest, and quite confused of so many aspects of my own being, where I was going in my life, and how to also just deal with some challenges I was experiencing at that time in 2021. I don't know. Time's tricky. I can't exactly remember when that call was specifically,
All right. That's about
but
right.
something around that
Yeah.
ballpark. And I remember just talking to you and feeling an immense sense of safety and just calm, and like I finally could take a breath and then just start to go, okay, like you said, like what's going on inside of myself. Yes, I'm kind of, having a challenging time with all this external stuff, but obviously at the end of it all, the only thing I can do is look within. And I know when we first started to talk, like that's how, that's what you were guiding me to do. And then we worked together and worked one on one, which was also amazing. And then you told me about your recalibration program. And it was just that, and this happens all the time, I think, when synchronicity is just, that alignment is so perfect, where I'm like, this is exactly what I need right now. And to be able to be in a small, intimate group of about 4 or 5 people, depending on, the cohort. And in that intimate group, I got to then every month express what I was moving through, but then get this amazing ancient wisdom from the Hermetic principles that's obviously completely universal and timeless. And then, given the way that you do, you always like to mix in some neuroscience and some modern scientific findings, which I love too. So, I thoroughly enjoyed going through this recalibration program. One, because I needed to be recalibrated first and foremost. And then two, you know, the people in the group became lifelong friends and became what we like to call soul family. And then you're not only getting all this recalibration in your own being from one, learning amazing information, and then getting to not just only digest it, but also express and almost vent your monthly challenges, as we all have, and then be able to be held by a wonderful group in that, and feel that support. So I mean, to this day, I remember I even a couple weeks ago, I just had a call with one of the friends connections from the recalibration program, just to
Right.
reconnect and just to have a chat, right? So these are connections that I've made now in the recalibration program that are lasting for years. And so it's a beautiful, it is what it sounds like. It's a literal recalibration of your body, mind, and soul, because it's all connected. And, for those that are watching and listening, like Lisa said in the beginning, if you're at a point in your life where you're just, there's some confusion of where you want to go next, or you're moving through a challenging transition period and just needing that next level of one, leveling yourself up to be able to take on this new wonderful but crazy world, and also then to learn how to just integrate all these things that we're moving. So if you're feeling like you want to be a part of a group of people that are all moving through this together, then I think this program could really resonate. And we'll have a link in the description below for all you people to connect with Lisa and see if it's a good fit for yourself. But that's been my experience. It really truly did what the title says. I felt I really was recalibrated after the 2 years that I did in that
Yeah.
program with you. So it's amazing. I highly recommend
Well,
it.
I mean, I love to back up because me and with the whole etymology, I want to just say I want to ask the question and then I want to answer it. What is recalibration? I mean, it's a word that I've used for a long time. It's a word that's starting to be used more often out in more of mainstream. But the way that I define it is it's a transform uh, a transformative process of adjusting and realigning in various aspects of life, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, but it's also mindset shifts. So and mindset shifts also correspond to the habits that we have and the perspectives that we see from the lenses. And part of that whole process of recalibration is to ultimately achieve a greater self-awareness and purpose and fulfillment. And it's a real deliberate action, I think, to bring a more positive change into one's life in a very confidential, intimate group setting. And this is a group setting that was done. I started this program, so I was reading the Kabbalion, which is the seven Hermetic principles, many years ago, and it's resonated with me because these are universal laws, right? So the law of cause and effect, the law of correspondence, law of polarity, the law of rhythm, and the law of mentalism. And I was so enthralled with that I decided that there was something here. And of course, as Chris said, I totally geek out on neuroscience. So how can we use these ancient principles into today's world? And even though people have talked about them for thousands of years, really, that they kind of hold a mystery, I think. And that mystery it hasn't been opened up until now, right? So now there's this, I would say, a more fluidity in, people are looking for answers and they're wanting to explore from ancient knowledge. And so there is something there. And of course, my second book is all about this. It's about this program, but it's, how do we take these principles and we mix it with, and like alchemically mix it with neuroscience and then apply it into today's world. So that's really what this program is about. It is a 12-month transformational program. It's designed to have you become the person that you are, whether or not you know who that is or not. But it is really for someone who's interested, has a real keen awareness, or a keen spiritual awareness, and a deep wanting, right? Or even needing a personal growth. And when I got inspired to curate this body of work, I talked to a few people that I know, like some colleagues, and I said, hey, would you like to be a part of a program? I want to just have about 4 people, including myself. I want to facilitate this. I want to do it monthly for 90 minutes a month. We come together via Zoom, and I'll provide you with the written material. I'll give it to you a couple of weeks before we meet as a group. We'll meet as a group. Everybody gets to share what their insights were, and then see how it goes. Well, since then, I have impacted, the program has impacted really over 150 leaders globally. So one of the things that I love is that when Zoom wasn't a thing back in 2018, I was able to bring people from all over the world. So, Chris's particular cohort, Soul Family, is someone who actually happens to be very international, outside of the US, that is. So it was, really wonderful. People, all walks of life, that are different. And I think that's the piece that I love so much about the Recalibration program, is that the more diverse, the better, because there is something that is a secret sauce. And I would consider this sauce to be that it's the insights that get shared in this confidential setting become other people's insights. And there is, don't get me wrong, I love coaching one-on-one. I've done that for many, many, many years. But there's something powerful about getting the insights from other people and having that be as part of the amalgamy of the, and the beauty of the group together. It bonds the group closer, and you walk away from, we walk away with an extraordinary sense of accelerated wisdom. Okay. And that doesn't happen over the course of 12 months with most, and this isn't psychotherapy or anything like that. And I will say as a disclaimer, right, that there are thousands of programs out there, and I'm sure many of them are really excellent. But the one thing that the Recalibration program is, it's a unique content that has been curated by me. It's not been curated by AI or third party. And I think that is, it makes it different. I am always tweaking. So what happened in 2018 is when I did the first year, towards the end of that first year, everybody, was really connected. And then they said, well, we're not ready to leave our group yet. What's next? And I thought, I don't know what's next. I didn't think beyond that. I thought this was just going to be a 12-month program. Well, I'm very grateful to know that that it's been so popular that I made this program into a 3-year program. Now, what we're offering today, to offer this to the public, which I've never done before, so this is kind of a new thing, is that it is 12 months. And if it goes beyond that, that's great. But there are highlights, there's major benefits of what this can provide you. And I think I was toying with it, Chris. I was like, do I offer this to the public? What would be in the best interest? And in all fairness, I just didn't think that the world was quite ready. And this is I get introduced to thousands of people a year. Just I have a very wide network of colleagues and business people that I know, and I know a lot of people internationally. And so it was never difficult for me to put a group together. But I feel that there is enough awakening, and there are many more people who are just saying, you know what, I'm ready. I'm ready to get out of this old whatever, this job that I've had for so long that I don't like, or maybe it's a new job, but I don't like my boss, and I know that I can do something different, but I don't know how to get there, and I don't know the steps that I need to be. Or I have a wonderful, you know, career, and I'm really not happy in my marriage, right? Or I'm happy in my marriage and my job is great, but there's something that I am not fulfilled with. And we all have it. We all have our own stories, right? Chris and I are together in this where I am a student for life. I always want to learn something new every single day. That is just part of my DNA makeup. More and more people are saying my life as it is isn't enough. I want something more, something new, something different. I want to rebirth something. I want to know what my purpose is. I want to know how to make a difference in the world. And so this is what the recalibration does. It is truly and I get this every time I facilitate. I can do this all day long. I can facilitate this, 24/7, because I'm getting the alchemical fuel like everybody else. And we leave the group after 90 minutes. I know, Chris, because I know that you've felt this and other people have said to me over the years, like, this has changed my life. Where I was, our litmus test, right? Where I was in our, if there was an upset, I always measure the intensity, the frequency, and the duration of an upset. I can take that screenshot of whatever is going on in my life, and I can say, what would I feel like if this was a year ago or 6 months ago or 5 years ago? People have been able to measure, because that's part of what we do. We measure at the very beginning and we measure at the end. Where are you in your baseline? And then where are you after the program? And 100% of participation, 100% of the time, they are absolutely in a place that they've only dreamt of, or maybe not even dreamt of, because they didn't even think it was possible. So I know that was a lot of information, but so Chris, how can people learn more about this?
Right. Well, that's the thing. So yeah, if and all these episodes on this podcast are kind of, microcosms of the teachings of the recalibration program. So it's really just, if especially if you resonate with this podcast, this program is a really interesting option that you should definitely explore and see if it resonates, because it is how you can take this. It's great to listen to podcasts and the information's awesome, but what you do with the information obviously is really the most important thing. So this is just such a nice tangible way to do that. And all you got to do is just click the link below in the description of this video, and you'll basically just fill out a form, and that form will inform Lisa of what you're looking for and what your journey of life is, and then we can best suit and decide what cohort, if it's going to be a good match, etc. So the important thing and the great thing about the recalibration program is there is still a screening process, because we want to make sure that the people in these cohorts are the right match and the right frequency mix of people, right? And you get every walk of life, because everyone, the beautiful thing about the recalibration program is it's universal, it's all human. So we had completely wide ranges of ages, ethnicities, religious backgrounds, geography, spiritual, viewpoints of life. I mean, everyone was coming at it from very different perspectives, and of course, that just brings even more power and just so much value, really, because the diversity is the best part. So yeah, you can just click the link below and take it from there, and just see what this process can really do for yourself, because ultimately I really feel that humanity is needing these tools more than ever right now.
Yeah.
So it is the time to really start to look in the mirror and look at your own self-development, and what does that look like for you now, and what can you invest in to develop that aspect and that part of yourself. And this is one very honestly easy way to do it, because as Lisa said, it's just a 90-minute meeting once a month. I mean, we're very busy people, but that's a pretty easy thing to just slot into once a month. It's on Zoom, so it's remote. You can be anywhere in the world. I mean, we had one of our cohorts, half the time he was calling in from the airport,
Right.
right? So I mean,
Right.
I've called in I remember called in once at a ski resort, like it's just, this is the beautiful thing, is you can really do it anywhere, but it's the second you're on the call, you're in the energy of the cohort, and you're back with everybody that you continue to develop such wonderful relationships with. And that's the cool thing, is all the bonuses that come out of it, right? Friendships, community, connection. These aren't really the main purpose perhaps of the recalibration program, but there's certainly, side effects of it, and certainly bonuses that you get. And that's, for me, equal to the other benefits of the recalibration, is just the connections and the community, because especially in the Western world, communities are harder to kind of come by, especially with like-minded people. So the fact that you can connect with people on the same journey and same path is just a beautiful thing. And that's, to me, a huge part of the value, like you said before, is that you learn so much from everyone else when they share and they tell you about their challenges and their wins that they've had in that month. And it's just such a wholesome, beautiful experience. So, it's like, if you want to recalibrate and you want to up your self-development game, great. This is an amazing step that you can take. And if you're also just looking to connect with people on a deeper level, and have maybe struggled with that in your physical local community, this could be a great opportunity to meet like-minded people that have that same desire for self-development and to expand and evolve their being. So that also could be something that might resonate with you, beautiful audience listening and watching. So just check it out. Click the link below.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I mean, this is the time. I think last week I said something in the podcast that is that, if you're still, and it was a pretty long podcast last week, but if you're still listening, you're still hungry for knowledge. There are things that you're listening to in order to want to receive something. And I think that the recalibration provides this automatic receptivity that, although it is expected for every participant to put their energy and effort and intention in, what we receive, and I think that's like something that we don't get a whole lot of. And maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe that's a little bit of my own personal viewpoint that I see out in the world, is that there's a lot of people that are not receiving what they need, or maybe that they feel like they need to give something in order to receive. And I think that's part of the beauty of the recalibration, is that we're not just receiving from one person, but from a group. And there is something beautiful about even receiving. I mean, we can even have a podcast about receiving and why a lot of people don't like to receive. A lot of people they shy away from receiving. There's like, well, no, I'm the one that's supposed to do or take care of, or, be that caregiver. And there are a lot of people out in our world, in different communities, that are all about giving, but it's really uncomfortable to learn how to receive. And these are some of the benefits and the points. I mean, so there are 7 Hermetic principles but I have expanded it to 12. And and those principles have tools and practices, and that's part of the quote unquote homework, but it's more contemplation. And when we can really hone the skills of contemplation and concentration and that inner commitment, something happens within us. And it's like a zenith moment. And that moment isn't really a moment, it is a change in perspective. So if you want to think about, we think that we can, I remember the first time that I tried on a pair of glasses, and I thought, well, I could see fine. I had some headaches, I could see fine. I put a pair of glasses on, I'm like, I can see very differently, which I didn't realize that I was squinting or whatever. It's the same thing. My background is blurred. I think a lot of us go through life blurred. And again, the recalibration program is, man, you've got a telephoto lens and you know how to absolutely focus that baby, and you're able to see laser sharp. And that is not only, I think, not to sound so dramatic, but I think that it is absolutely critical for 2024 and beyond. We have to stop getting out of the more muted colors of life, and we have to become more laser focused on what we want to do and how we want to do it and who we want to become, and what our purpose is here in this life while we're a soul in physical form. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if we wanted the whole podcast to be about rah rah rah, recalibration program, but I do feel that we will continue to occasionally talk about the recalibration program on this podcast, and we're going to take little chunks here and there from the recalibration program and talk about it. I may have done that once early on. I think I talked about the principle of correspondence, which is as above, so below, which I love. And, we're going to dissect some of these things, but as technology starts to, accelerate at a pace that I don't think most humans are even aware of, we as humans have to remember to stay human. And the way we stay human is to do the inner work. We want our outer world to look a certain way. We have to do the inner work, right, Chris?
Yep, it's all about the inner work. And so that's why having a container like the recalibration program is just so helpful. And, I think it's great to have an episode about the recalibration program because we've had, honestly, a lot of comments and a lot of people on this YouTube channel specifically asking, like, okay, but like, give me the tools, give me
Yeah,
the
give me
real
the tools.
specifics. Like, they love, what we talk about, but there's definitely this need. And while we could certainly, and we will have podcasts where we can highlight more of these tools, the real depths and the real, like, what I believe the energy of what people are really asking in these comments is going to be more, and it's going to be a lot more easy to attain and a lot more easy to sink your teeth into by coming into a program like the recalibration groups and programs that Lisa offers, because that's the practical way of doing it. That's the real way of being in a group committed with other people. So then there's the accountability as well, which always helps. I know I need that personally. And so then you've got accountability, you've got community, you've got a beautiful safe container now to really be able to express yourself and then receive, of course, all the other expressions from everybody else, learn, grow, expand, heal, all of those beautiful things. And that really needs to happen in a container, in a beautiful kind of format. So I think this is a beautiful episode to just kind of let people know, like, this is what you can do.
Yeah. So here's the other thing is people are always like, well, why is it not like 14 weeks or 6 weeks or something like that? Which would be convenient, right? But change doesn't happen quickly. And I coined something many, many years ago called the ascension crash syndrome. And what is that exactly? Any of you viewers and listeners who have gone to personal development workshops, I have been to thousands of tens of thousands of hours in that. Love it, love it, love it, love it. However, if it's not followed after a long weekend of like-minded, like-hearted people all feeling the same mojo, the same frequency, and there is something very powerful about that. But how many times have you gone back to your life and then all of a sudden what you ascended, the ascension crashed? Not only just where you were at that baseline before you even went, but lower. That's the ascension crash syndrome. So the recalibration is poised at 12 months because that is the amount of time that sticks. New behavior, new pattern, new perspective doesn't go back to an old lens. It stays at its new lens and it's fixed into place.
Yeah.
And that's very, very powerful, right?
Yeah, and it's also time for integration. When you come back from like a ayahuasca ceremony, or you come back from a big workshop, breathwork workshop or something over the weekend that was very, very incredible, obviously powerful. I mean, they're amazing, but one of the biggest things that I find gets missed in the self-development world is the integration period. And I know I've met a lot of people that when I hear about how much self-development work they've done, but then I'm speaking to them and I'm feeling like there's still quite a lot maybe that they need to work through. I really wonder and I question, not in a judgmental way, because my gosh, I completely understand. However, I have to ask, I'm like, have you integrated? Have you, like, I know you've done all of these things, but what have
Right.
you taken any of that and sat with it and then
Right.
really try to like actually tangibly like dissect it and then live it, bring it into your life in a practical way. What does that look like? Well, you can't know what that looks like until you actually integrate these learnings and teachings, and that takes time. It takes time, and that's why a once a month, but then for 12 months consecutively, all of a sudden creates this space, but also consistency and a pattern of once a month. I got to check in with my group once a month. I got to recalibrate once a month. I got to integrate once a month. I got to receive new information that also opens up my neural pathways to new possibilities. But then again, I got to integrate it. So
Right.
it's a perfect, I think, amount of space that you
Right.
give people, but then there's also consistency, and that consistency is also really important too.
Yeah, that's great, Chris. Thanks for that insight.
Well, it helps
Well,
when I've been in
I'm
it.
sorry.
It helps when I've been recalibrated myself. So
Yeah. Well, I've been recalibrated every time I've facilitated a
yeah,
group, which has been a lot.
right.
It really has excelled my own personal and professional growth. It has excelled knowledge into wisdom for me. And the integration piece is so key. It's the aspect of business. Okay, we could and I don't know why I have this visual that the same thing about business. It's leaders can be good until they do or don't um, integrate that information or integrate their leadership skills or be able to move forward in the direction that they're bringing an organization. And if you can look at that and look at what your life is, I mean, and I'm just going to call myself out. I'm definitely someone who has great aspirations and great expectations of myself. And I've got, you can see the whiteboard behind me. I've got three other ones that look just like this. I mean, I'm constantly whiteboarding. I have all these ideas. I'm constantly doing tons of different things. Do I do everything and do I follow through with everything? No, because I do believe that there's timing. But the integration piece is what changes. It puts what is emotional into actual. And that's what I think the recalibration does. Is it's the, you put your shower on and the shower is cool, warm, and you want it to be hot. Well, you've got to turn it a little bit more. You got to turn that dial. And that part of the process, it happens over the course of, I would say, like the first two. By the third month, boom, something happens. And everybody is kind of like, oh, wow, I'm trying something on. They're trying on a new version of themselves in a way that they've never done before. And here's what's so awesome. You've got other people around going, I got a space for you. I'm holding space for you. You're doing amazing. I get what you're going through. I've had the same experience, or I had a relationship like that, or my mother was like that when she was alive. I mean, anything you can imagine, everybody holds space for everybody in that group. And there is something so beautiful and so profound in a time in which we need so much to find community and groups together, that this is something that, like Chris said, his is lifelong. And, you know, my circle of friends has increased tenfold because there's some of the most amazing people that I've ever had gone through this program that I have also learned from and grown. And so anyway, I'm thrilled to be able to offer it to the public. I think it's time. And guidance definitely has been nudging me gently, and now not so gently. Like, do it. And so this is it. And what I will say is that the first program is actually going to start at the end of February. So click on the link below. There will be definitely a process. I think it's going to take a week or two. But once you're in, and there's limited space for sure, because I think I'm only going to be launching 2 cohorts. So, and there will be a wait list. There has been a wait list in the past, but it's okay. You know, if this calls you now, great. If it doesn't call you, save the link. We'll talk about it in the future. We'll have links in the future. But once a quarter, once every 2 months, I'll start a new cohort. But if you're interested and you want to do something now, love to have you. Love to talk with you.
It sounds good, everybody. So thanks again for tuning in to our podcast here, Wisdom from the Edge. And yeah, absolutely. Do yourself I was going to say a favor, but I don't like that term. Do yourself some wonderful love and investment. Like, this is a beautiful investment in yourself. Sometimes that can be hard to do, but this is a great leap that you can take this year, 2024, or whenever you're listening to this, and invest in yourself, you know, because you matter the most in your life. And so this is a great time to invest in yourself. So if it resonates, click the link below. And as always, regardless if you do or not, we love you anyway. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will definitely catch you next time on Wisdom from the Edge.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Chris. Namaste.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Wisdom from the Edge. It's such a pleasure to have you with us. And make sure, if you haven't already, to follow, like, and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate that. It actually helps us out quite a lot in growing this platform. And also leave us a comment if you haven't already. We'd love to hear from you, hear your thoughts about what you enjoyed on this episode and things that you want to offer, maybe ideas for a new episode or things that you want to hear more about. Also, make sure to check out our website, wisdomfromtheedge.org. All that is in the description below. And you can learn more about what we do, what offerings we have, and of course, the courses and programs. There's lots to learn from, a lot of really cool resources to check out to enhance your everyday life. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Wisdom from the Edge.